Happy Monday. Welcome to Off the Roster, brought to you by our founding partner, ProLine. With the new ProLine app, you can make every pitch more interesting all baseball season long. Download it today. I'm Lindsay Dunn alongside Dan Riccio and Cabbie. Good morning to everyone, especially in the chat. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow along on YouTube. Off the Roster, TNN, guys. Great show today. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Blue Jays' big series, upcoming series for them. Some Leafs news and some wild news of the weekend. But Dan, before we do that, can you do me a favor? I just need you to check. Yeah. Is there any update? Can we check to see if Kawhi's officially a Raptor?
Yeah, let me just check my notes here. No.
That was definitely the manual to some kind of printer here. Yeah, so Kawhi's still not a Raptor. Still a lot of controversy surrounding that, but yeah.
One day it'll get done. Or we'll have some kind of a solution.
Resolution? Yeah.
A resolution, yes, that is the correct word that I was looking for. Thank you, Cav. Teammates. Forever teammates. Someday we'll have a resolution on the whole Kawhi saga.
And someday you will see Vladdy hit a home run at home.
It was Saturday.
May that be at home. May today be that day for you.
Hey, we're just happy he hit a home run. Like, it doesn't matter which ballpark, but
turns out all he needed was the 3-day blow. That's it.
Oh my, Q and you're below. Jeez Louise. 3-day break, 3-day respite. How about that?
I'm just same terminology that John Schneider uses. It's
I've been back.
It's a
his 3 minutes, and I did not take us off the rails off the roster. Thanks for that, Dan.
Vlad has a 3-day break, and then he hits a home run in his first AB back from that 3-day layoff. So.
Okay, yeah, Jay's back in Toronto, taking 2 of 3 against the Phillies, but
4 straight series. They've won 4 straight series. They're 8-5.
No. Rewind.
Over their last 13
games. The Cubs
games.
game counted as a one-game series according to MLB because they're stupid.
Did it?
Yeah, it did. They officially ruled it as a one-game series, which is just.
I'm going to live in this reality because apparently I'm the Simon Cowell of the show. This reality, the Blue Jays have won 4 straight series. They've won 8 of their last 13 games, 8-5 in this stretch. That includes the Cubs game, which they should have won on Thursday, and they should have maybe won yesterday as well. But 8-5, so they are still, That's pretty good. It's like tied for the 6th best record in the majors since July 27th. So
I can't believe Simon's being positive today. I'll take this. The Jays had some wonderful moments that happened.
When you earn some positivity, you get some positivity. This isn't hard to figure out, guys.
It's just nice to hear, though, Dan. It's nice to hear.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear.
I did enjoy just like on Friday, Dan, Zach, and I really got heated about the Blue Jays. And listen, and like, at this point of the season, they are climbing slowly up the standings and have the wild card second position in their view. And I boiled it down to, hey, like every day's got to be about process. And these guys, the reality that Dan and Zach live in is more like macro. The season has not gone anywhere near to expectations, so therefore it's almost a wash. I'm not to say total, but almost a wash. And I like to poke Dan in the group chat to say process, trust the process. I mean, they're playing in Philly, so it also worked. Oh no, but isn't he he's fishing somewhere, right?
He's trying to come back to the league, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, makes sense in the group chat.
In this case, like trusting the day to day, and I know we'll get into it more granularly, but it was awesome to see some small ball from the Blue Jays. Andres Jimenez had a great weekend. Nathan Lucas is looking like Jose Bautista with that right arm in right field. There was some small victories, which when you stack them on top of each other, result in wins. And that was to win in Philadelphia this weekend, and I think it was four extra inning games in the last 5 days. That's been impressive too. I mean, they're 2-2 in those games, but They've all been close. They've all been dramatic, and some of them have been kind of weird. So we are trusting the process a little bit while we continue to march towards that second wild card spot.
Well, a lot of the narrative, especially of the last couple of weeks, has been this team, they have no grit. They've given up, and that's not what we necessarily have been saying, but it's definitely a narrative online with fans. And when you go to extra innings, and yes, the way that they lost yesterday sucked. Like, you want to see them win in extra innings. This is not a team that's given up. This is a team that's still fighting. And I think you can take that away from the weekend as a small victory that your team is still trying to. Dan, give me the percentage of them making a playoff spot.
It is 6.4% per Fangraphs, 6.4%. So it hasn't climbed all that much. Every loss does feel like a bit of a dagger, you know, because in my brain, I'm like, well, they can maybe afford 15 losses for the rest of the season. So that's that when you still got 6 weeks to play, that's maybe not the best statistic to have. So there's all of that you have to think about as we continue here. But, they are playing more like you watch them over these last few series, and the way they came back even yesterday in the 8th inning, and Andres Jimenez, who has had pretty much a noodle bat all season long. But my God, the guy just finds a way to come through in the clutch, and did so multiple times over the weekend, which you love to see. These are things that remind us of the 2025 Blue Jays, the never give up, the find a way to get on base, work a 15-pitch AB or whatever it may be, and then
shout out to Nathan Lucas.
Spray a base hit into the outfield. Like, these are the things that endeared the Jays to Blue Jays fans last year, not just for the amount of games that they won, but this never give up mentality. And they just haven't been able to find that mix, that chemistry this year. Whatever it is, you had Kevin Gausman on the way out talking about the clubhouse and how it just didn't feel the same way. And yesterday, you hear after the game John Schneider talk about he really likes what he's seeing in the clubhouse right now after the trade deadline. So maybe there is a little bit of magic sprinkling within this Blue Jays roster right now. I mean, it might be still too late to end up making the playoffs, but they definitely have a different vibe to them over the last couple of weeks.
And Bateman, I just want to also put in the young gun making his MLB debut, first pitch.
Just get the bunt down, though.
Yeah.
Gotta get the bunt down in the ninth there.
Well, there's a couple moments that stood out to me this weekend. I'm curious for you and everyone in the chat right now, for both of you, is just the moments that stood out to you over the weekend. So there's two for me. Schwarber chasing down Jesus Sanchez tripping, and then him tagging him. That was everywhere. I was like, oof. But I don't remember if it was this series or the one before, but Kirk, when he had the ABS challenge and it was so clearly a strike, and then his face after was like the most memeable moment. He's like, yeah, that's clearly a strike. It was a bad one.
I Jesus Sanchez yesterday was an interesting one because in extras when he's a little slow getting out of the box, and
he slipped.
Yeah,
right?
I know. He had an ankle injury too, like that kept him out of the lineup for a while. So maybe he's not at full go. So I am, somewhat sympathetic to him in the moment. And he's like, did he not run out that ground ball here in extras? And you watch the replay, like he ran pretty hard. Like, I think that's just how fast he can go right now. Which I don't know what the better alternative is, but yeah, that's that was a tough one. The Jays had a couple of ugly moments there in extras too, where ugly is maybe a strong word, but the Sanchez running it out, and Bateman trying to get a bunt down with first and second in the ninth inning and nobody out, and he can't get it done. He ends up striking out. Vladdy next AB ends up grounding into a double play, ending the chance, ending the inning. They didn't score any runs there. Neither did the Phillies, so there's that goes both ways. But you don't see extra inning games where there's a ghost runner on second to start the inning. You don't see 4 half innings of baseball go scoreless in extras like it did yesterday for the Jays and the Phillies. So there was a lot going on, but more good than bad for the Jays over this stretch and over the weekend, Cap.
Yeah, a few highlights from yesterday's game, and Toronto lost 7-6 to Philly in the 12th inning. But in the bottom of the 10th, a great defensive play from Josh Smith. Alec Boehm pops up and Josh Smith run, he grabs it in foul territory. And then Derek friggin' Hill. I'm learning about this guy this weekend, and this is the mother bleeper who wins the game for Philly yesterday. But in the bottom of the 11th, with Braden Fisher pitching, Derek Hill's at second, Schwarber's intentionally walked, and then Trey Turner bunts, and he pops up to Fisher. Fisher, remember, he drops the ball, gets the runner at third, like unintentionally dropped the ball, but it was the right play. And then Fisher walks Bryce Harper to load the bases. And so Fisher, with a great pitch to Luis Arise, jams him on the hands. This is where Nathan Lucas makes that catch in right field and just throws an absolute laser to home plate. And he gets Garrett Stubbs out at home. Innings over, preserves the 5-5 lead. Jays go ahead in the 6th inning with the Jesus Sanchez ground ball to second. Trey Turner bobbles the ball, and there was a review, I think, at second base. Sanchez was out, but Nathan Lucas scores, and then in the 12th, unfortunately, we lost the ball game. It was interesting to see how with that lineup, with the Phillies lineup, how much they were just playing small ball. With Don Madden's like, yeah, let's just get bunts. Like, let's just try to advance the runner because, I mean, other than Kyle Schwarber golfing a 448-foot friggin' bomb to right field with one hand, by the way, other than Schwarber hitting 2 home runs in one game, there weren't like the long ball and Vladdy homering wasn't that pronounced in this particular series. So Blue Jays executed some small ball, the Phillies did, and ultimately in the 12th inning when the Jays were playing up to because of the threat of the bunts, I think there were 3 straight players who had squared up in the box. Then, with Derek Hill, singles to center to win the game, it's like, it's just if we had played back, then maybe that's I think it was bases loaded. Maybe that's an easy out at second base, and then we go on to the 13th inning. But I do want to one thing from the weekend that I do want to just reference and give some praise to is Jose Soriano. Jesus Luzardo was also electric, throwing 12 strikeouts. The guy was like unhittable for 7 innings, but Jose Soriano making his debut with Toronto on Friday, which was great. That knuckle curve is devastating. There was a moment in the 5th inning where Toronto was up 3-2. Bryson Stott and Justin Crawford on base. Soriano strikes out Kyle Schwarber with a knuckle curve and then strikes out Trey Turner with a knuckle curve. In the 10 pitches that he threw to those 2 sluggers, this bro threw 8 knuckle curves. And then Fluharty came in to end the inning. We ultimately won that game, but it was a nice debut for Soriano. 4 2/3, 4 innings, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. And Schneider said before the game, we just want to get him to win the 1-1 counts, 1-0 counts, and he displayed his 5-pitch arsenal: slider, sinker, splitter, 4-seamer, and then that knuckle curve. So and tonight we'll have James Santillan making his debut with the Toronto Blue Jays. But for Soriano, it wasn't.
Tyon pitched last week.
Oh, I'm
his
sorry.
Home debut. I think
home
his
debut.
home debut.
Sorry, yes, home debut. My fault, but thank you for the correction. It wasn't like incredible, but it was a nice start for Soriano and some of these new guys, Brett Bailey,
Bateman,
Brett Bateman, excuse me, and Josh Smith. Like the new guys. I mean, although Josh Smith's bat isn't the best, but defensively he's had some nice plays. But the new guys ingratiating themselves into the team, and maybe that's part of this new residue, this magic, this new flavor or vibe in the clubhouse, which Lindsay had alluded to earlier. John Schneider's like, yeah, I kind of like the mix in here, and I like what the clubhouse looks like after games. So away we go, and we try to hunt down that second wild card spot.
We'll take anything at this point. Okay, take it. There's still 56 and 63, so it's still a long climb. You got to get to 84, 85 wins. Right now, Texas is at 500 with that third wild card spot because of the way the Red Sox have played over the last month and a bit, and they come into town tonight as the hottest team in baseball. The first 2 wild card spots are already locked up in the American League. There's about 7 teams, the Blue Jays included, fighting for that final wild card spot. Currently, the Rangers hold it at 500, and Look out for the Tigers. Like they're playing pretty good ball right now. They're 8-4 over their last 12. Even after trading Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize, they've looked really good. They're the one team with a decent run differential in this entire wild card chase. And the Jays have just, they've made it interesting. A season that looked like it was pretty much cooked. They feel like they've still got a punching chance. And that's all you can ask for with the way that this season has gone. There's still a lot of work to do. And as much as I want to believe in this run of 8-5, as I said last week, this stretch here, you got Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, Yankees. 13 games in 14 days. The Jays have to find a way to play these next 13 games above 500. If they do that, then you'll at least play meaningful games in September. And given where this season was going, that didn't look like a possibility. If they play these next 13 games above 500,
you're going to come to the dark side with me,
and even
Cabbie,
7-6,
the positive side.
That's not even asking for a lot. 7-6 over the next 13 games. If they can do that, they'll play meaningful games in September. And you look at that September schedule, it's a little lighter. It's lighter. Yeah. It's teams they're fighting for wild card positioning with. It becomes a possibility if they continue to pitch well, maybe hit a little better, because even during this stretch, they've got the third worst OPS while winning 8 of 13 games. So, they could still hit a little bit better than they have. Vladdy can continue to do what he's been doing. That would be nice. These are all things that can allow them to play meaningful games in September. And I've been a Blue Jays fan long enough that I know there was a time when all you wanted was meaningful games in September. So let's hope that they can play this next stretch pretty well, give these really good teams some fits at Rogers Center here over the next few days, and potentially give themselves a punching chance in September.
Really good chance in September, and I like where your energy and vibes are going right now, Dan. I am picking up on this. I want to go to the Leafs for a moment. We're going to hop back and talk about the Blue Jays, a huge series today, like you mentioned, starting against the Boston Red Sox. We have Garion Thorne, Senior Content Associate at DraftKings, coming on. But when we talk about the Leafs, there's some reports out there right now where I'm going to make sure I give the reporter credit. It is Herb Zurkowski, a Montreal Gazette reporter, saying that since July 1st, Patrik Laine's name's been linked to a number of teams, including the Rangers, Wild, Tampa Bay Lightning, Philadelphia Flyers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's still not signed anywhere. Mm-hmm. When you hear that, who would he play with? How would he fit? Is this somebody you'd want to see on the Leafs?
So the Leafs could use more scoring, I'm sure. Scoring never hurts. But the fit for Patrik Laine is a strange one at this stage of his career, because he's an incredibly talented guy at certain things, but it's hard to fit that player into your lineup if you don't have the available space. It's like having a power play specialist on defense when there's only 32 teams that need, every team only plays one defenseman on their top power play unit. So if you're a power play specialist as a defenseman, those jobs dry up pretty quickly across the National Hockey League. And Patrik Laine at this stage of his career is a power play specialist. You look at his numbers in Montreal, he's been great on the power play. He could still post up in that sort of Ovechkin spot and just throw laser beams at the net, and a few are going to end up in the back of the net. That can still work for Patrik Laine. But I look at the Leafs' top power play unit, and right now it's between Nyes and McKenna, who's going to be on the top power play unit. You still got Nylander, Tavares, Matthews. You bring in Darren Radish as your power play quarterback. Nyes, McKenna are going to figure out that final spot. Is it worth bringing in Patrik Laine to play on your second power play unit and sheltered minutes in your bottom six? I don't know. And that's kind of where the fit starts to get interesting for me. I'm intrigued because of the idea that Patrik Laine, early in his career, and Austin Matthews playing together. Nobody would have thought that could ever happen. But given where Laine's career has gone, this could now be a possibility, and one that may not cost that much. So it is intriguing, but the fit is awkward.
Indeed. I don't have anything to add to that. Sorry, Dan. Sorry, Dan and Lindsay. I'm like,
no, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm wondering about like how he fell out of favor with Montreal, but I haven't done enough of a deep dive. But yeah, it is intriguing. But I mean, do you interrupt the chemistry, or do you like with McKenna now potentially playing on that top line, or you stick with Matthew Nyes? Like, if you bring in Patrick Laine, does that stunt or affect McKenna's ability to gel with his new teammates and form that chemistry, which takes multiple months to really imbue?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I read that today, I was like, no, thank you, but wish him well for whatever team he ends up on. And then I looked
Tampa's
at
interested, right? Like Tampa's like, hey, maybe he can fill that Stamkos spot on the left half wall that's been vacated since Stammer left. The other teams that are involved, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, and I think the Philadelphia Flyers were also mentioned. So like there's teams that are looking at Laine, and why wouldn't you? The guy can still score goals, and it's still the hardest thing to do in the National Hockey League is actually score goals. So it does make sense, but for a lot of coaches, they're going to look at a guy like Laine and be, you've got to be able to give me something at 5-on-5, and unfortunately for him, at even strength, he's just not been able to provide enough over the last few years of his career. So if that changes, he can be a very valuable asset. And this is a guy who's still pretty young, probably looking to score himself another big contract at some point in his career here. So maybe there is some upside in taking a chance on a player that's obviously motivated, that has very clear skill set. He's like Liam Neeson in Taken. I have a very particular set of skills. That is Patrick Laine at this stage of his career. But how do you get the most out of that particular set of skills from Patrick Laine? For a team in the Leafs position, coming from so far down in the standings, trying to get back to the playoffs, you got to look at every available option to you. So that's why it kind of makes sense. But how do you get the most out of that very particular skill set is a question mark to me.
Let's just quickly check in with the chat. German Fine Car saying, wouldn't touch him. I would stay away from him. There's a reason why he's not with one of, sorry, it switched the chat. Love you guys. You guys are typing. Mel saw Chris Bassett in Buffalo playing against the Bisons, so I love that for her. But German Fine Car saying, I would stay away from him. There's a reason why he's not signed. He's been one of the biggest busts of the top draft pick. So, yeah. And it's interesting to see there, but Dan, I have to give you and Cabbie an update about movies. I did not watch Interstellar because you brought up whatever movie you just said, but
you still haven't watched
I
any
didn't see
Christopher
Shrek,
Nolan?
but I did see Taxi Driver for the first time.
Why? I mean,
I don't know, but that was a really
it's
good
a
movie.
classic film.
Wow.
But it's like,
Did they just get that in theaters in Saskatchewan, or?
Well, we had the rabbit antennas going, and then we went and got a VCR and a VHS, and I put it in, and then I had to rewind it. It was great. No, I'm kidding. It just happened to be on TV after one of the Jays games. I'm like, oh, I've never seen this before, but no, sorry, Christopher Nolan. Still not there, but yeah, very interesting moment to see. And then also with what's going on with Morgan Riley, will he be? This is clearly something we can talk about.
Yeah.
For the next month or so, will he be at training camp? Will he still be a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs? But the same thing for Detroit. Larkin, like what they're asking for, it's not going so well.
Well, the latest on Dylan Larkin, who remains, the trade request went before Steve Yzerman was let go as general manager of the Detroit Red Wings. And now you're kind of wondering, okay, there's no GM in place currently in Detroit. How does this change the whole situation with Dylan Larkin? And one of the reports that came out this weekend was, well, they're asking for a first-line center in exchange for Dylan Larkin. And I get the ask.
That's a big ask. Yeah,
I get the ask. And I don't want to disrespect Dylan Larkin in any way, but this is going to sound disrespectful. He's kind of a fringe number one center himself, and he's been the number one center on a team that hasn't made the playoffs in forever. So what does that tell you? He's maybe not on that top tier of number one centers. For a team to give up a number one center for that, especially when he's got a very particular set of teams he wants to go to, and that's basically just cup contenders. Guess what? A cup contender is not going to give you one of their top centermen in order to acquire a top centerman. That's just robbing Peter to pay Paul. They want to add to their group, not subtract, in order to bring in Dylan Larkin. So it makes it a very difficult situation. I don't know how they find a solution for Dylan Larkin in Detroit unless he really starts to open up his possibilities of teams that he's willing to go to, or they significantly lower or change their ask to be more futures dependent than it is roster for roster players. That's not a trade that lives in reality for the Detroit Red Wings. And they obviously couldn't get it done earlier in the offseason, and I just don't see that changing anytime soon.
Oh,
how uncomfortable is that? Like, if Dylan Larkin doesn't get traded in the offseason, he's got to go back to training camp and like, hey, I love you guys, but I want to work somewhere else. I want to be somewhere else. Like, it's,
well, I think he gets a free pass. I think he gets an out. He has an out in that Steve Yzerman was the GM and is no longer the GM.
Yeah.
That guy running the ship, I didn't trust what he was going to do. I didn't trust what he was doing. I didn't like the direction. It didn't work out. I want out of here. Oh, Steve Yzerman's gone? Well, my feelings could change.
Yeah.
And then that is at least the line that he could be thrown where it's like, oh, this is why I'm okay with coming back. And then he can kind of, tuck his tail between his legs, walk back into the room and, make amends, where guys in the room probably also realize, yeah, the team stunk. The team was not in a good position as it was. So that could be the saving grace for Dylan Larkin. But I understand what you're saying.
It's still tough to walk back in as a captain of that team in that situation. The Yzerman wrinkle does give it a little bit of a change. And I don't know where they go from here, but obviously one of Dylan Larkin's big issues with Yzerman is that he was too scared to make the big trade to add to that roster. Quinn Hughes, whatever it may be, he always found like the cheaper option, and all these cheaper options never worked for Detroit. And that's why he finds himself out of a job at this point, Steve Yzerman. So they've got to, I don't know if there's going to be a convincing of Dylan Larkin to stay whenever that new GM comes in. I'm sure they're going to try, because there's just a lack of trade options that helps Detroit now versus we've got to trade Larkin for futures, and that probably sends us into another rebuild when we haven't made the playoffs in forever already.
Let's pop back to baseball for a moment, but first, the Nation Network has partnered with Levelwear to bring you a whole new standard of apparel, premium fabrics, elevated fits, and more variety than ever before. Introducing the new limited edition off-season Social Club collection. I'm wearing one of the shirts today. I'm telling you, it is awesome.
Only Lindsay gets merch here on the show here.
That's
Cab.
what's up.
Just throwing that out there.
From polos to premium tees to hats and hoodies, these are all pieces designed for every part of your lifestyle, not just a game, because being a fan isn't just a season, it's who you are. And clearly, I guess, Dan, you're not a fan of everything or anything. That's why you didn't get any. Just kidding. Head to nationgear.ca, Dan, where you can subscribe, get newsletters, and just shop the great products. A lot of cool limited edition products like the 999 challenge, which we will try to get you to do with Cutwater, because rumor has it you can handle your alcohol.
No, we are.
Inside joke, you can't.
We're staying away from Cutwater. So
but we're going to welcome in a friend of the show, the senior content associate DraftKings. Welcome back to the show, Garion Thorne.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Morning, Garion.
How are you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, so lovely to be here with you guys, talking some baseball.
We're happy to have you back. And of course, the Blue Jays hosting a crucial series against the Red Sox tonight. I just want to know, the Red Sox, they won 8 of their last 10 games. Their season has just been entertaining to follow. Not so much if you're a Blue Jays fan. How are you feeling as somebody that covers this team? And I know that you're also a fan of the Jays, just watching the matchup that they potentially are going to have tonight.
It's really interesting because obviously I think there's just some built-in animosity with the Blue Jays and the Red Sox if you've been a fan for a long time. But in a weird way, I think the thing that hurts the most about watching this Red Sox team after watching last year's Blue Jays team is it really does have that sort of weird team of destiny vibe that the Blue Jays had last year, where you're like, oh, Nick Sogard is batting leadoff for this team that can't seem to lose. And, there was this running joke in Blue Jays Twitter last year where the worse the lineup looked, the more just absolutely absurd the lineup looked when it was put out at 4 p.m., the better the team was. The more runs they scored, John Schneider could do no wrong when filling out a lineup card last year, and that must be how it feels right now in that Boston Red Sox dugout, where it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what name it is. It doesn't matter what order we put these names in. These guys are just going to produce. And I know they've lost their last 2 games to the Athletics, but this team has just been on an absolute heater for the better part of 2.5 months now.
Do you think, I would like to check in how you're feeling about the Blue Jays right now while we continue the conversation about how great the Red Sox have been. Do you think the Jays realistically are going to make this big push where they can get into that wild card spot?
I think it's admirable that they're really playing their butts off. I think people can appreciate that. But again, it's a really difficult situation that they've put themselves into, because as easy as it is to just say, wow, they're 3.5 games back at the last wild card, it really is just that glob of teams that's ahead of them, that's between them in that wild card spot. Because the situations that get created with something like this is, you've got 3 AL Central teams who are inevitably going to have to play themselves a lot down the stretch. You've got AL West teams that are going to have to play amongst each other down the stretch, which means someone's going to win some games in that group that's ahead of the Blue Jays. So, you probably look at it and say 84, 85 wins is what it's going to take to get to that final AL wildcard spot, which, by the way, would put you in a really advantageous situation, because that final AL wildcard spot is going to get to play, most likely, the winner of the AL West, which is not going to be a very good team. So it could be a really important spot in the grand scheme of things, but the problem is just the amount of teams that they have to pass. And I think the Guardians, by opponent winning percentage, have the easiest remaining strength of schedule in baseball. The Tigers are an absolute anomaly. I mean, I know there are Jays fans who want to throw the remote at the television every single night. The Tigers are a team that were 1 run away from the American League Championship last year. They kept their team together coming into this season because they thought they were going to be a World Series contender. They are multiple games below 500, so much so they had to trade the greatest pitcher on the planet. And yet, at the start of today, it is Detroit that has the best run differential in the American League. So what do you do with that? I don't know. But there are quality teams, and there are teams with really good pathways to the playoffs in front of the Jays. So as much as I am enthused by the last 2 weeks of baseball, you do also have to take a step back and go, they've lost Trey Savage in that span of time. George Springer apparently is a pinch runner now who isn't healthy enough to swing the bat. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has clearly been dealing with a litany of injuries all season long, and we now know for sure his hamstring is not 100%. So it's tough to get too optimistic, but again, it's 3.5 games. It's August baseball. We like Karen down the stretch, so I'm holding out a little bit of hope, but it is a tough path.
Yeah, it is tough. 8-5, trying to stay. It's been a pretty good run. 4 straight series wins. A couple of ugly losses in there. That one on Thursday against the Cubs was tough for the Jays. But you're starting to feel a little bit of that scrappiness that they had to them last season, Garion, and I just don't know where that went this year. It's almost like they all showed up expecting, we're just going to carry on from what we did last year, and then baseball delivered them a left-hand hook in the face, and they've been trying to get up since the start of the year. But they've started to find it a little bit, and the backbone is the pitching of this team. Even during this stretch where they've gone 8-5, they've got like a 657 OPS as a team during this stretch. The pitching of this team is what might keep them alive in this race.
Yeah, and that's why it's especially tough to lose a Trey Savage, because anytime a Jays fan, whether it was March while you're watching spring training baseball, or right now, or I guess 2 weeks ago more specifically, when you allow yourself to go, wow, suddenly there's a lot of starting pitching on this team, immediately injury. So that's losing a Savage is tough, because it does create a situation where tonight Jameson Taillon is starting for the Toronto Blue Jays, and by all accounts, Jameson Taillon is an absolutely lovely person. He's a guy who comes out and shows out for Team Canada, which we all love. He's having a really rough season. There's a reason he was designated for assignment, and I believe Jameson Taillon said as much when giving his first couple interviews with the Toronto Blue Jays. The numbers are scary. I mean, you can definitely look at some of the underlying metrics and go, okay, he's striking out a batter per inning. He's not walking the world. Like, maybe his luck will change a little bit. you can look at something like home run to fly ball ratio, where right now over 21% of the fly balls he allows turn into home runs. Among pitchers with 80 innings thrown this season, that is by far the highest mark in baseball. So sometimes you can say, hey, that's due for regression. That's going to normalize at some point. The problem is he also has a first percentile opponent barrel rate, where almost 16% of batted ball events against him have been barreled up. So he's really digging his own hole when it comes to some of these just absolutely terrible secondary and tertiary metrics. I mean, giving up almost 3 home runs per 9 is no way to survive, especially in the American League East. So as much as I'd love to see Tyone turn it around with his quasi-hometown team, I think his presence and sort of the deteriorating presence of Shane Bieber does give me a little bit of pause about the effectiveness of the back half of this rotation as the season goes down the stretch. That said, Max Scherzer suddenly looks amazing. Like, he's out here pumping 96 in the 5th inning. So if there is, again, sort of an optimistic take to have here, I would say that at least Scherzer looks really, really good, and that's fun.
So the next 2 weeks are a really difficult stretch here for the Jays. Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, and then Yankees again to close out 13 games in the next 14 days. I said earlier in the show that this stretch will decide whether the Blue Jays stay in the race for September. Agree or disagree?
I would agree. I mean, if they can exceed expectations, their schedule in September is very, I don't want to say easy. Nothing's easy, but it's much more accommodating, let's say. And I think that they're catching the Yankees at a good time. We are very focused about the Jays' offensive struggles, and rightfully so. Since the All-Star break, Toronto is 3rd from the bottom in isolated power. They've hit the 2nd fewest home runs in baseball in that span of time. They are dead last in expected weighted on base percentage, which is a category they have been bringing up the rear of the league in for most of the season. And that is not something you want to see when you're at least talking about the predictive ability of offense and their ability to maybe get better as the season goes along. That said, in the mix with them at the bottom of the league in all of those offensive statistics in that same span of time are the New York Yankees. They have not been hitting at all since the All-Star break. And this is a team that is not just missing Aaron Judge. They're not just missing Giancarlo Stanton. They've recently had to suffer the loss of Cody Bellinger. Jazz Chisholm is not hitting at all. I mean, I think if you had told a Yankee fan coming into this season that Spencer Jones and George Lombard would be as crucial parts of the lineup as they are, there might be a couple that would be excited because, we all love prospects. But this is not the version of the Yankees that I think we're all used to. This is a team that is also really struggling to find its identity right now. It's a team that, much like the Blue Jays, I feel like if they go down 2-0 in the 2nd inning, you've got a large majority of the fan base going, well, we're never going to score 3 runs, so this game's over. So these are 2 very similar teams right now, and the Blue Jays might be able to take advantage of the fact that the Yankees also can't hit, or at least you would like to think so.
Oh, man, we hope that's the case when we play the New York the next, was it 7 games or 7 or 6 in the next 13 that Dan had outlined. Garion, good morning, bro. You mentioned prospects. So the Blue Jays trade away Arjun Nimala, top prospect, for Jose Soriano. And on a scale of mildly impressive to pure magic, how hard is it for opposing hitters to really lock into that knuckle curve that we saw in his Friday debut against Philadelphia?
I mean, that was the pitch that I think a lot of people pinpointed when that trade went down is, every team fancies themselves pitching gurus. I don't know who's right, but there's always some sort of massive adjustment with the pitch mix because that's the easiest thing to fix if you're coming to a new team. You're not going to tell Jose Soriano to change something in his delivery. Well, you might, but you probably don't do it the first week he's in camp or in practice with the team. So really utilizing that pitch more and specifically using his four-seam fastball less. That was a pitch that historically Angels pitching coach Mike Maddox really likes pitchers who can put the fastball in the strike zone. And that's a little bit more of an old school mentality than I think a lot of current major league pitching staffs have. So I think there was some optimism that the Jays can tinker with this pitch mix. They can get him to use his best pitch more. And while the surface statistics from that start probably didn't leave most fans with a jaw on the floor, he didn't get out of the 5th inning. He walked 3 batters. Jesus Sanchez made a meal of a ball, not allowed a run, so that really wasn't his fault. But 18 whiffs on 94 pitches. I mean, if you're looking at a whiff rate above 20% in a single start, that's elite of the elite. And I'm not saying he can necessarily do that every single time he goes out there, but if you're looking for some sort of underlying stat to tell you that a start was better than maybe the surface stats suggest it was, that's a pretty good one to look at first. And that's a really encouraging sign from Jose Soriano. So if he can it's always that delicate balance between, do you want to go back to your sinker, which doesn't get as many swings and misses, and maybe that, creates a situation where you leave yourself to more like BABIP unluckiness or stuff like that. But, even his ground ball rate last season was top of the tops. It was about 65%. This season, it's like 53, 54% because he was using that sinker less and that four-seam fastball more. So there's advantages to both styles of pitching, but I do think the Jays have probably found something nice with specifically using that knuckle curve a lot more than they were in Los Angeles.
Well said, sir. Earlier today, Tom Verducci posted an article on Sports Illustrated called "Pitching Longevity Has Officially Hit an All-Time Low." He posted this about 3 hours ago, which explores how starting pitchers are throwing with maximum effort, like closer type of stuff, which impacts a pitcher's durability. In July, complete games hit an all-time low in Major League Baseball for the month of July with 2. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the current World Series MVP, and Dylan Cease, the leader in the clubhouse for AL Cy Young Award winner. As starting pitcher's longevity hits an all-time low, how realistic is it for teams to construct like championship caliber stuff without blowing out their bullpen by October, a specific challenge for this year's Toronto Blue Jays, and I'm sure many other clubs. But since we watch the Blue Jays every day, it seems like it's maybe specifically a Blue Jays thing. But and are we approaching a point where playoff success requires having 10 relievers in that bullpen?
It's a really interesting time to have this conversation too, because obviously with the CBA ending this year, and there's going to be a lot of debate, and there's going to be a lot of focus specifically on the salary cap and the financial aspects of like what a coming lockout might look like. I do think there might be a push for possibly teams getting to select, because right now the way the 26-man roster breaks down, you can only have 14 pitchers. I think that there might be a push to adjust that. Like if you want to be a team that lives with 3 bench players and gets an extra reliever, that might be something that's on the horizon, because it really is staggering the amount of teams that have this issue. I mean, it's funny for the Blue Jays specific to tonight. I think that most people can understand after playing as many extra inning games as they have in the last week that their bullpen is an absolute shambles right now. The really darkly funny sort of side of this is any 40-man eligible pitcher on their roster at the moment. We're talking like John Klein, who they just traded for. He was part of the Jeff Hoffman deal with the Twins. You've got like CJ Van Eck. They've also just pitched down in Buffalo, so they are also not available for tonight. I don't know what they're going to do. Ricky Tiedemann? Out of pure desperation, I have no idea. I mean, this might be like someone's getting 60-day IL today because they just need an arm. And I made this joke after Lazaro Estrada picked up his first career save. But it was like, hey, congratulations. You're now going to AAA because we need an arm. And it's a really cold reality of what baseball is when you're an optionable pitcher at the back end of the bullpen. But I think a lot of people probably wish they had optioned him and brought up someone so he didn't have to pitch on third consecutive day.
Yeah, 3 straight games.
So I think that's the aspect that is going to get something to change, because I think if you're the league, you don't want pitchers ever realistically pitching on a third consecutive day outside of the playoffs. Because that's just asking for injury. On top of the fact that all these guys, again, are still throwing maximum effort, even if they are throwing on their third day. So that could create the epidemic that maybe causes some change. But I wouldn't be shocked within the next 2 or 3 years, or if it's specifically this CBA, that allows teams to decide whether they want 4 bench players or 3 bench players at the risk of getting another reliever, because that seems like where this is going.
We always appreciate your time. The last random question I'm going to ask you, because I know that you also cover and follow the NBA. Do you think Ben Simmons cracks an NBA roster? He's trying to make a comeback.
I mean, those fish, it's hard to fish. Keeps you in shape.
The money's not as big.
I think that some team could convince themselves that Ben Simmons still has something. I mean, I guess it's getting more and more difficult the older he gets to sort of sell the secondary attributes that used to make him so tantalizing. Like an elite defender at the guard position. You can't teach size, and he's still just a massive, massive frame of a man. As someone who has to cover the NBA, specifically from like a news update perspective,
Yes.
hate this because people love Ben Simmons news, and I'm so tired about writing about him. I think someone like he's on a G League team at some point this year. I would be pretty confident about that.
I hope it's not Raptors 905. I will not trust the process with that at all. But we appreciate your time today. Thank you again for joining us.
No problem.
Thanks, Garion. Appreciate you, bro.
Oh, yeah, so many interesting storylines in sports, which I love. And it was a very busy weekend, and it will be a very busy week for sports. So now it is time for the segment we have every Monday, which is all about the weekend. We look at some of our favorite storylines from the weekend. And Cabbie, let's start off with you.
This one kind of came out of left field. So it was Hall of Fame weekend in Canton, Ohio, and some great, obviously some legends were inducted into the Hall of Fame. And football is great in that, like, many members of the Hall of Fame do return for that weekend, and they're on stage, like on kind of the dais, as some players, praise teammates, praise organizations, praise their families, all the thing for these incredible contributions. Now, this one kind of comes out of left field because Adam Vinatieri, probably the greatest kicker of all time, took some shots at his former head coach in Bill Belichick and his former star quarterback, Tom Brady. These are very good jabs. Take a listen to Adam Vinatieri.
Well, we get that clip. I'll also add in, did you hear the Pat McAfee joke as well?
No. Wait, did he do was he live there in Canton?
He was, yes.
I shouldn't have brought it up because now I have to say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Like,
I'm gonna. You can say this one.
Oh man, I'm like, I'm just gonna see if I can somehow play the clip from here. But he got roasted pretty hard. I'm just trying to think of who said it though. I'll say it, but he said how, I can't remember who it was getting inducted. He said, "Oh, Pat McAfee is here. The only other person here that liked holding my balls more than my wife."
It was part of Adam Vinatieri's speech.
There we go. Sorry, Mike. I couldn't remember who it was.
They were, I guess, I don't know. What do you call a punter and a kicker? Are they battery mates? That's a pitcher.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard when I heard that. But now here's the clip that you were alluding to, Cabbie. Let's take a listen.
I would repeat those last few statements about Coach Bill Belichick as well. Thank you for demanding excellence every single day. Your preparation, discipline, and attention to detail shaped far more than my football career. Unfortunately, Bill couldn't make it here today. There's a lot going on at UNC right now. He may be on a recruiting trip right now looking for the next Lawrence Taylor. I thought it was because training camp had already started, but in truth, it's because he's judging his girlfriend's cheerleading competition.
Well done.
Wow.
Well done. Oh, there's more.
I was lucky enough to play with the greatest quarterback in Patriot history. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it here today. Drew Bledsoe. I had a few more Tom Brady jokes, but I was afraid that he'd run up on the stage and maybe give me a Will Smith like he did to Logan Paul last month.
Well done, Vinatieri. One quick note
that's
about.
a speech.
Yeah, he did well. He did well.
I like that. That's fun.
He's got the charisma of an Italian. I like it.
We never got into like Tom Brady's appearance at Fanatics Fest and this whole thing with Jake Paul and like this stage
somehow.
slap, and he's like, "Are you trying to get into the world of WWE? Does Jack Brady or like one of your kids really think that WWE is cool? Is that why you're hamming it up with Jake Paul and like he hasn't said yet, but I'm very puzzled by that specific moment where we, I think it was a couple of weeks ago where that just popped up on the feed. Like, why does this why does Tom Brady have to stoop to this level? It's Tom Brady, bro. You're here, brother. Yeah. Like, you're the first face on the Mount Rushmore when they talk about great football players. Like, bro, like, let's not tarnish the legacy at all, please. But anyway, we still have yet to find out what that was all about. But salute to Adam Vinatieri taking a couple of good shots at his former head coach Bill Belichick and former quarterback Tom Brady.
I don't understand the Tom Brady thing. Yeah, we did not discuss it. I'm like, this has to be an ad for something eventually down the line. And if he actually gets in the ring or something with,
if it's with one of the Paul brothers, it's 100% a work of some kind.
Yeah, because there's no way he would even give him like time of day, and then to do all of that, like minus him like deflating footballs, I don't see him actually going and slapping somebody.
Really don't need to see Tom Brady in a celebrity boxing match if that's where this is eventually heading.
Yeah, I think you're good. I think you're good. I don't know. Maybe he's just bored.
Unless it's against Mike Tyson, then maybe I'd watch. But
yeah.
Probably not be good
not
for Tom.
Not going to do
it. So the story continues with FIFA. And
every day it's something, bro.
Gary,
presidential debate within FIFA right now. And over the weekend or late last week, Gianni Infantino, FIFA president, called a meeting in Morocco, which only people he employs showed up to and not the rest of the FIFA confederations. So he called this meeting and was like, okay, I made some mistakes, but we're going to overlook this. And basically I'm threatening you. And if you don't back me, you're going to be in trouble. And so he expected everybody to just fall in line after that. I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, and it's a lot of what's going on behind the scenes, but essentially he is trying to stay in the FIFA presidential seat, and everybody is going against him. And you are picking sides, and we are seeing sides be picked right now. In a joint statement today, UEFA, the Asian Confederation, and CONCACAF, which includes Canada, spoke out and sent out a letter saying that they want Gianni Infantino out. You should resign right now and not go up for re-election next March, or else we will start planning our own competitions amongst ourselves. So this is it's getting heated within FIFA right now, and a lot of the confederations, Canada included, Canada even spoke out themselves, sending out a tweet backing everything that UEFA is saying and saying that they are against Gianni Infantino staying as president for good reason. I love this from Canada. I love this because Gianni Infantino needs to be out after what he tried to pull, trying to privatize the World Cup. And hopefully there is an end to this sooner rather than later.
So much drama.
It was weird to see, when you're the bad guy in light of Sepp Blatter, when Sepp Blatter's on Twitter saying, "Hey, you're a corrupt mother bleeper," effectively, man, you gotta be really wading in dark, deep water, corrupt waters. If Sepp Blatter he's like, at least my corruption was behind closed doors. Your corruption is in front of the world to see, every day, and with the. With his antics go ahead, Dan.
I'm under no illusions that whoever takes over FIFA next is going to be equally as as dirty-handed as Gianni Infantino has been, or Sepp Blatter before him. I mean, it is what it is. It is a very, very difficult organization to back. As a soccer lover, I will continue watching the World Cup because it is the greatest show on earth and can be the greatest show, as we saw over the last month. And just some of what's going on, and you're seeing some of the nastiness, FIFA not paying out some certain cities,
some of the host cities,
billions. Money that was promised to them in a World Cup where they revenued $15 billion for a month is pretty crazy that this has all happened. So I'm under no illusions that whatever happens next is going to still be dirty. But, this is one of those situations where you're seeing it all play out, and it's like, how did this happen? How did he think this was going to go over well? And it's just simply, this guy has so much freaking power. He felt like he could get away with literally anything. and to go behind everybody's backs and try to privatize the World Cup in this way so that you would get a massive payout yourself. Yeah, there are even lines you cannot cross as the FIFA president. He has crossed them and will soon be out because of this.
We'll see if Kawhi Leonard crossed any lines in the investigation surrounding him. There's a video going viral right now within the last hour, and honestly, I'll tell you, I tried to research this during the show to see if this is somehow some kind of ad, because
we always need to check for AI as well.
Yeah, it's not AI. He is supposed to be doing a nation tour. He's going to be in Hong Kong in a couple of days, and this is a video of him reacting to Paul George having a Chinese street basketball player scoring 60 points against him, which, if you haven't heard, there's like this whole 100-point challenge that happens in China. It goes very viral. This is Kawhi reacting to it. This video was just posted within the last hour.
What is this? This guy's over here playing pros and he scored 60 points on Paul George? Who is this? What is this?
It's the G-Mung 116 100-point challenge.
Man, there's no way he's gonna score 10 points on me. I'll lock this dude up. He look trash.
So yeah, clearly it's an ad. Everyone's like, what is this? Is this an ad? He just roasted PG. It just went viral. I'm like, that's
Has he not
clearly
made enough money off of
the
his
thing that I got out of that with with his alleged dealings. What he did not invest that money in was acting classes. Oh, what is this? Who is this?
He did
that's
have
the most
some good
emotion I've ever
commercials
seen
with
Kawhi.
For Kawhi, I would say maybe that is the most emotion we've seen from him in a while.
In a while, that's right. Yeah, the game winner against Philly was the most. That's
yeah.
peak emotion, and then everything else is like far below it. He did have when he was with the Spurs had excellent local commercials in their local market when Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Kawhi Leonard were and Manu Ginobili were all like, it's like either Kroger brands or anyway, he was like pretty good as an actor back then, but now that was dreadful. And clearly promoting his Asia tour. I saw another thing where he had the blowout, so he is like the little baby fro, and he was like, I'm going to be in Hong Kong on August the 15th or August 16th. Come see me there, and blah, blah, blah. It's like the most amped, the most you're going to get out of Kawhi energy-wise when he's trying to deliver something to his phone or something to his fans. So the Daktronics deal, the Aspiration deal, maybe Pablo Torre will uncover a fourth deal. Oh, there's also the Rhode Island Football Club.
Yes.
Like this thing's gonna Lindsay and Dan, it's like maybe next NBA All-Star weekend we'll have a report, a final, because I think Adam Silver does sort of a State of the Union around then, and maybe then we'll have some kind of resolution, hopefully a lot sooner, but some resolution on Kawhi Leonard's future and his punishment, Steve Ballmer's punishment for circumventing the salary cap.
It's wild. I'm going to discuss this on air right now. Zach, can you look at the next video that we have in there? There's this video that happened on a pitch this weekend, on a soccer field, whatever you want to say. And I think we are allowed to show it because it's a fan video. Take a look at this guy. He scores. Oh, my. Jumps over the barricade into like a stairwell that went down. And it's this crazy video. So watch. So he scores and then runs, jumps over the barricade. Brazil, and falls down. And so there is video after that shows that he actually walked back up the stairs and like kind of stumbled but was okay and still celebrated. And the fun part of all of this, the goal was disallowed.
That's got to be one of the worst goal celebrations of all time.
So after all that celebration, probably twisting both ankles, popping one of the knees, he climbs back up the stairs, just in shambles and with a wave of shame over him. And then the goal is disallowed. Like, oh my gosh, bro. Like, you take a 30-minute shower, bro.
Gary in the chat about Kawhi saying maybe he started to actually do something for his sponsors.
Yeah, for the first time ever. Actually, great point.
Oh my gosh.
He's showing up. There was there's the Kawhi thing. I mean, I don't know. Raptors training camp or a Kawhi resolution? What happens first? I don't know.
Raptors training camp. Yeah. How things have changed since a month ago when I was in Vegas for Summer League, and they're like, some of this news came out. They still were positive that they would have this wrapped by the end of Summer League, and then Adam Silver saying hopefully by the end of summer, and now it's like hope. I don't know which side we're going to go on, but I'm very hopeful for your guys' ProLine look aheads. This isn't the old ProLine. The new app makes betting baseball easier than ever. Enjoy more props and same-game parlays all baseball season long on the new ProLine app.
Well, it finally happened. We saw a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. home run over the weekend. We still haven't had one when I called it on the show, and if it's happened at home, no, it still hasn't happened. Is Vladdy going to play tonight? I also don't know, because he left after trying to run out that ground into double play in the ninth inning yesterday, but we're going with a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. home run at Rogers Center tonight. The donut is going to break eventually, and we will have his name on the card when it does, because at some point he is due. Am I right? Chat?
He is due.
He is due. Right. At some point, it has to happen. A Vladimir Guerrero Jr. home run against the Bo Sox tonight.
Same game. Willier Abreu, over the last week, bro has been scorching hot, batting .438 with a 1584 OPS. 3 homers in 5 games. He faces Jameson Taillon, who's given up 26 home runs in 16 appearances. The Red Sox are 13 games over 500 on the road. They face a familiar foe in the Dome tonight. But my play isn't Abreu home run. It's just an Abreu over 1.5 total bases. I know these are bad vibes because I'm betting against my team, but this guy, his production has been so elite that he's tough to ignore. So Willier Abreu over 1.5 total bases for the Boston Red Sox against the Toronto Blue Jays tonight at the Dome.
We finally made it happen.
And these picks are for entertainment purposes only, folks.
All of my negativity is finally transferred over to Cab. He's now picking the opposition in his
what's happened? I was gone for like 3 days.
Just this one time. And the pitching matchup is favorable for Abreu.
Yeah, just a little bit. One of you put something for a kicker today.
Well, I think this is something I know well, and it's happened to a few of my friends in the past, and this is maybe one of those times where James Harden is in a very relatable moment to regular civilians. So this is a video over the weekend where he is at a wedding and his girl catches the bouquet, and Harden's face is captured for everyone to see. And he's just like, oh.
So he registers shock and awe and shock and awe basically, and dread. Dread is probably the best way.
If you could find the words that James Harden is saying to himself in his head as this moment is happening, what do you think he's saying right now?
Oh, hell no.
Prenup.
That's my best guess. Oh, hell no.
Without swearing. Oh, hell no.
Lemon
Yes.
pepper wings. Those are gone forever.
Yeah.
Where's my life going? That was amazing.
Yes, the face said it all from James Harden. He could win an Oscar for that performance. The acting was all natural. The way he reacted in that moment.
It's better than him flopping. That's for sure.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm happy to see you guys. I'm happy to talk to you guys again. And tomorrow I'm happy to discuss Vladdy hitting a home run at the Rogers Center.
Let's go.
It is happening, and everything else happening.
1 game win streak. Let's go.
Woo! Let's go. Please don't
win another series.
Please
win another series.
Please don't do this in extra innings, guys.
You think they could beat the Bo Sox, right? They can do that.
I think they're going to sweep them.
They swept them like less than 2 months ago.
They're going to bring the brooms out.
In Boston, they swept them. That was less than 2 months ago.
That feels like last year. That's insane, but we'll see what happens. Bring the brooms out. I'm calling a sweep by the Blue Jays. I don't believe it at all, but don't. That's why I'm not allowed to do the betting. Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for following along. Another episode of Off the Roster. If you want more Off the Roster content, make sure to like and hype this video and to subscribe to the Off the Roster YouTube channel.